I got a call last week from a client of mine. I sold him a condo in Scarborough back in 2021. He paid about $620,000 for one bedroom plus den with parking around 650 square feet. Rates were at 1.7% back then. The market was on fire. Everything made sense. He called me last week. His mortgage is up for renewal and the bank came back at 4.4%. That's an extra $870 a month, and his condo, it's worth about $545,000 today. He asked me, Houtan, do I sell now or do I keep holding? Here's the thing, my client is not alone. There are 1.2 million Canadians in exactly this situation right now. And what they decide to do is going to change the Toronto real estate market in ways most people aren't even talking about. Today, I want to break it all down for you. Not the mortgage mechanics. There's great content out there on that. I want to talk to you about what this renewal wave is actually going to do to home prices, which property types are under the most pressure, and most importantly, whether right now is the time to make a move or not. Let's get into it. Let me give you some quick numbers so we're all on the same page. Between 2025 and 2026, approximately 1.2 million Canadian mortgages are coming up for renewal. Most of these people locked in at rates between 1.5 and 2.5% during the low rate era. Today's renewal rates are coming in between 4 and 4.5%. Let me put that in dollar terms because this is where it gets real. On a $500,000 mortgage, that rate jump means roughly $537 more every single month. On a $700,000 mortgage, which is very common in Toronto, you're looking at $750 to $900 more per month. That's not a rounding error. That's a car payment. That's your kid's activity. That's real money that has to come from somewhere. And not that many people have that extra cash to put in towards mortgage every month. I pulled the May 2026 TREP numbers, and when you know what to look for, the renewal wave is written all over them. New listings in May were down 18.9% compared to May 2025. That's a massive drop in supply. And you might think, Houtan, if people are stressed financially, shouldn't they be selling more? Great question. Here's what's actually happening. Most homeowners, especially families in detached houses in 905, are holding on. They're absorbing the payment shock, cutting elsewhere, finding a way. They're not listing, which is why overall supply looks suppressed. But condo investors are a completely different story. Condo prices in 416 are down 9.5% year over year. In the 905, condos are down 12%. Those numbers are reflecting something very real. Investors who bought at peak 2021 prices are now renewing at 4+%, cannot break even on rent, and are quietly listing their units. And on the sell side, transactions were up 6.3% in May. Someone is buying. Buyers are active. They're just picking the spots where the value is clearest. And right now, that's condos. The overall ratio of sales to new listings is at 35.7%. That's a buyer's market. Month of inventory is 4.8, and the power in this market is still with buyers. Not everybody, not forever though, but right now buyers have the power. Let me walk you through each property type so you know exactly where the pressure is and where the opportunity is as well. In condos, this is where the renewal wave hits the hardest, and this is where buyers have the most leverage right now. A significant portion of Toronto condo owners are investors, not owner-occupiers. An investor who bought a condo for $750,000 in 2021 is renting it out for $2,200 a month and just got a renewal at 4.4%. After mortgages, condo fees, property tax, and management, they're likely losing $1,000 to $1,500 every single month. Some of them will hold, but many are selling. The condo segment has the most motivated sellers in this market. If you're a buyer who's been waiting on condos, this is your windows. Prices are down 9 to 12%. Supply is elevated and sellers need to move. In detached homes, it's much more resilient. Prices are only down about 3 to 4% year over year in the 905. Most detached homeowners are owner occupiers. This is their family home. They will stretch to make the payment work before they take a loss on a sale. Supply in detached is getting tight as well. In semi-detached, in 416 specifically, honestly the most stable segment I'm watching right now. Prices are nearly flat year over year, less than 1% down, which is pretty good in this market. These tend to be a long-term owner-occupied properties. Families are going nowhere. If you're upsizing in the 416, this is still very competitive segment of the market. Townhouses are an interesting story. In the 905, townhouses sales are actually up 12.3% year over year. First-time buyers or upsizers priced out of detached are finding real value in the 905 townhouse segment right now. In the 416, townhouse sales are softer, but prices are holding. The 905 townhouse might be the best value play in this market right now. Okay, let's get practical. I want to talk directly to three groups of people watching this right now. If you're a condo investor starting down a renewal, the question isn't just, can I afford the new payment? The real question is, for how long? If you believe condo prices in Toronto will recover to 2021 levels within the next 18 months, you hold. But I have to be straight with you. The data does not support that scenario. Sales to new listing ratios at 35.7%. Inventory is elevated in the condo segment. Prices have more downward pressure ahead before we see a real recovery in condo market. If you're a homeowner in a detached or semi-detached property, you're in a much better position. Rates are expected to come down. The Bank of Canada also has been cutting, and most economists see additional cuts in the second half of 2026. If you can absorb 12 to 24 months of higher payments without being forced to sell, the fundamentals of family housing in Toronto supports holding. Supply is low, demand is there. Do not panic sell into a soft market if you don't have to. If you're a buyer, this is one of the best opportunities to buy condo. 35.7% sales to new listing ratio, month of inventory of 4.8, prices down 10 to 12% from peak. Most motivated sellers I've personally seen in 5 or 6 years, especially in the one that they need to move. Could prices go lower? Possibly in the short term, but if you're buying to live in it for 5+ years, or you've done the cash flow math on a condo investment and it works at today's prices, you don't need to call the exact bottom to make a smart purchase. Trying to time the exact bottom is how people miss the move. Here's what I think the next 12 to 18 months looks like. And I want to be clear, no one has a crystal ball on this. The renewal wave is already happening and it doesn't stop overnight. That ongoing pressure on condo investors isn't going anywhere. So expect continued softness in condo throughout the second half of 2026. At the same time, the Bank of Canada is likely to cut rates further. When rates drop meaningfully, if we get to somewhere in 3% on new mortgages, the math changes significantly for buyers. Monthly payments drop, purchasing power comes back, and the demand will return. What that means is we're probably sitting right now in the window between the worst of the seller's pain and the beginning of the recovery, which is historically exactly when smart buyers make their move. Again, going back to sales to new listing ratios at 35.7%, still buyer's market territory. Recovery typically comes when we break above 45% and months of inventory drops below 4. Not there yet, but the direction is right. The data says we're tightening, but there is still runway for buyers. Back to my client, we sat down, ran the numbers together, the current property value, the carrying costs, the rental income, the renewal rate, the realistic selling timeline, and together we came up with the plan that made sense for his specific situation. He went from being stressed and confused to having a clear direction. That's what these conversations do. If you're in a similar situation, renewing, thinking about selling, thinking about buying, trying to figure out whether the timing makes sense for you, especially, that's exactly the kind of conversation I have every single day with my clients and prospects. It's a free 30-minute call, no obligation, just you, me, and the actual numbers for your situation. Book the call through the link in the description or send me a text and I would love to connect. And if this video helped you understand what's happening in Toronto and GTA real estate market, please hit like and subscribe. I put out a full market update every month and you don't want to miss what's coming next.